Welcome back to another episode of Import Modify. On this episode, we'll still be working on the Z31 300ZX right here. I got some more packages in, and I decided that I'm going to go ahead and take this project just a little bit further on maybe a couple more episodes before we get back to the Z32. Main reason for that being is because time is of the essence for me right now. I've been a single daddy because my wife's been away for job training and everything, so things have been a little bit rough for me as far as time goes, and right now I just have a little bit of hours in the day left to take care of a couple things. But the Z31 parts, they're relatively cheap for what I want to do, and I'm trying to get this thing roadworthy so that I can start driving it back and forth to work. So just bear with me. The Z32 will start here pretty soon, but I want to knock out a couple things on the Z31 first because they're quick, easy, and they're cheap. But I'm going to go ahead and talk to you about what I got here. I got me a Nardi steering wheel and a hub. So we're going to be installing the steering wheel and hub to make it look a whole lot better in the cabin area. And this piece here, I love the Nardi design, so I decided to go with that. And also I got me a hub to make it all work. And you might be wondering about this thing. I was digging through my parts, my stuff, my extra stuff in the back. You know, I've been collecting parts over the years for such a long time. Sometimes I forget what I have, and I was digging through some stuff, and I came across my Sport Compact MSD ignition. So I thought to myself, man, that would be great for the Z31, you know, since it has a single coil that basically fires all the cylinders. And when you're under boost and you want to increase boost, you know, you run into misfire problems because the coil and the old ignition system cannot keep up with it. So we're going to be installing the SCI MSD ignition kit into this car, and that will give me a whole lot better, more efficient ignition system. And then whenever it comes time to up the boost and everything, will be covered on the ignition side of things. So I got that ignition box right here. Got me a Blaster 2 coil and a bracket to make it all work. So I was looking at it. I'm probably going to have to come up with some kind of base plate to flushly mount it up on the fender well area. So that'll be next to come here in this episode. But first we're going to focus on the Nardi steering wheel. And if you watched my previous episode, you saw that I took the steering wheel off and I straightened it out because the steering wheel was upside down whenever he did the power steering rack. So I went ahead and found a really good deal on this Nardi steering wheel. I couldn't pass it up, so I went ahead and I got it just to improve the looks and the feel and the overall driving experience, because the first thing that comes in contact when you're driving a car is your feet and hands. So, you know, I thought that would be a great upgrade in the aesthetics as well. So we're going to be installing this here. Now, I do have a bunch of packages that did come in, and I'm not going to tell you guys just yet what I got. Stay tuned on the next episode, and I'll cover what I got. But I got to tell you that it's some pretty cool stuff. You know, this little Z31 is gonna be a pretty fun car when I'm done with it. But anyway, really stoked and excited, and I'm gonna stop rambling off. Let's go ahead and install the steering wheel and see how it looks in the end. So I temporarily got the steering wheel installed, and I don't have the horn ring in, nor do I have the push button. And the reason for that being that this is a premium Z31, and it has the integrated controls right here in the steering wheel for your stereo system and the cruise control. And it goes through the back of this clock spring right here, and it's got this integrated module that connects into the body harness. And this is called a clock spring. It allows you to be able to rotate the steering wheel fully left and right without it binding any wires up and whatnot. So for that reason, it doesn't have the simple plate like the horn plate that rides on a contact that will allow you to still be able to push the button and it allow the electricity to go through and actuate the horn. But it's a little bit more involved on this. So I do know where there are a couple of Z31s in the pull apart place, so I'm going to have to go in on a later date, probably this weekend, and go and see if I can get all the components that I need in order to make that work on this car. But for the time being, I got it temporarily installed so that I can enjoy it. So we're good on that for the time being. It's just those things you run into whenever you're doing this type of stuff. You know, you think you got everything, and then you take things apart, and voila, something's different. So, but I should have known better. It's got integrated controls, but not a big deal. Okay, so we're gonna move on, and we're gonna end up doing the MSD install next, and I'm pretty stoked on this. I think it's gonna benefit the car very well, especially under boost. And what I'm thinking is this is the area you got your factory coil and power transistor right here. This right here, the ECU sends a signal to this transistor. The transistor then amplifies the voltage to the primary circuit of the windings. So we're gonna have to keep this power transistor, and we're gonna do away with this coil, and we'll put the blaster 2 coil in its place. So I'm gonna have to come up with a bracket to where we can mount the bracket and then be able to mount this to the bracket, because I'm kind of wanting to stick it like somewhere in here. I think would look sweet. All right guys, so we're back in the garage for another day. I got some time today to go ahead and knock out this MSD kit, and what I'm going to end up doing is stripping all this out right here. I'm going to eliminate this solenoid right here for the fuel pressure regulator. From what I researched, basically this only interacts with it whenever the fuel temperature is hot, but as you can see, the sensor and all that's disconnected already on the fuel pressure regulator, and it shouldn't have really any effect over what the overall performance of the engine. People that I've researched on different forums and stuff said that they've had no issues disconnecting it, and it's not even connected anyway. So we're going to eliminate this, and then we're going to clean this area up. I did go to Home Depot. I got a couple items here so that I can make a proper bracket in order to mount up the MSD box in this position right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and figure a couple things out, get crafty, make a mount, and then we're gonna wire this thing in.
Perfect.
All right guys, I've been fabbing up, coming up with a good base plate design, and I think I figured something out. So the way I got it working is this is how it looks right now. This is the unfinished product, but I have an angle bracket piece right here that I trimmed off, and then I have an opposing angle bracket piece that's made it right here with 2 rivets. Well, 3 rivets actually, and that one is flipped upside down facing this way to where I can mount the top plate to it. And we got that right there to where it utilizes the factory mounting points, and there is a pre-drilled hole right here in the fender well, so I drilled the base plate right there, so it's gonna have 3 mounting points here, here, and here. So that is good. And I'm running into hood clearance issues, so hopefully this will not interfere, but it's gonna be on the plate like that. And then from there I had to cut and relieve this angle bracket here, and I made a little bracket for this coil pack right there. So the coil pack's gonna mount like that. So you got this, and then I have a dot right there where I'm going to put the power transistor, mount that down. So in the end it's gonna look like that. And basically, ooh, damn it. So basically it should all work, and I shouldn't have any clearance issues, so hope it works. Anyway, it's the unfinished product. I still got to do some more, and then I'm going to end up painting it, and then we'll get to mounting it, seeing if it clears the hood. and then we'll start working on the wiring itself. Alright guys, so I got the base plate painted now, I got everything mounted up, and still got the wiring left to do, but basically there you have it. There's the coil pack right there, mounted on this little bracket I made off to the side of the base plate, and there's a power transistor. Your box itself utilizes the 2 factory mounting bolts on the bottom, and there was a hole right there. I just went ahead, drilled a hole on the top plate, and put a rivet through it. Everything's nice and solid, so it's good to go. What we have left now is to do the wiring on it, and the wiring is pretty straightforward. You have a heavy black lead right here, a heavy red lead. Those could have positive and negative on the battery. Then you have your orange and black. Orange goes to the positive on the coil. Negative goes to the negative on the coil. And then these 2 wires right here feed into where the connector for the original coil used to be. So I got to look at the factory manual and figure out which one's positive and negative, but the white lead is going to go to the negative of whichever one that is, and the red one will go to the positive. Then after that, basically everything will be wired in, and then we'll be able to start it up and see how well it runs. So cool, making good headway. I got the soldering iron warming up, and now I'm going to go ahead and solder these little tabs on right there, these little connectors. I like to solder them in so that they're permanent, and I have to find some more 12 gauge wiring to extend to the battery and figure out these 2 wires here, and then it'll pretty much be done. So get back to you when I'm done. Alright everybody, so I got it all installed now. I got all the wiring done. There's a finished product. Looks pretty good. Now I need to do the wiring just a little bit better, and it goes to the battery. Got it all nice and tucked in the back. So let's go ahead and crank it up. I already cranked it up to verify that it runs, and it actually does run. But there's one little thing that I have to show you what's going on with it now. And I wasn't sure if this problem was going to arise or not when I installed it, but notice that the tach is not working. Now, I did some research on it, and I'm not 100% sure if I'm gonna have to get I think it's called a tachometer adapter kit for it, but I gotta do a little bit more research and see if I could plug into the square wave outlet. They actually have an outlet on the side of it. The car does idle a little rough until it warms up because all the other stuff's been deleted, like the air control valve and all that stuff, but there is a square wave output right there, and I'm not sure if I can adapt that into the wiring to get the tachometer to work, or am I gonna have to buy the adapter in order to make it work. But I'll have to do some more research on it, but it's installed and it is running the car, so that's a good thing. And it looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with the way it came out, and it's just, you know, it seems to be the case. I modify something and something else don't work, so that's just how it goes. But got everything in now, everything's successful other than the tach. I'll get that figured out, but it is now running, and we're gonna take this thing on a nice little cruise home and see if we can tell the difference. I can tell the difference in the acceleration. The throttle response is a lot better, so that's pretty cool. I mean, before it didn't have the response that it has right now. It sucks that I can't see my damn tach, but I'm happy with it. You know, I can tell the difference. It's got more throttle response. I'll slow it down a little bit and get on it real quick. Yeah, I can tell that picks up. I could definitely tell that the cylinders are burning a lot more even now because of the response that it gives, so that's pretty cool. You know, for finding it in my parts box, you know, that was sitting on the shelf, me buying a coil and just putting it in, it's not a bad deal, so I give it a thumbs up. It's pretty good. Well, I'm very happy with the results. I can definitely tell a difference whenever I'm at partial throttle and then I go to full throttle. I feel an initial response that wasn't there before. So that was pretty cool, and I can tell a difference in acceleration. So it definitely does make a difference. You know, I was just running it before off the stock coil, and now it's amplified through the MSD, and it's working out pretty well. So I'm happy with the results. Now I need to go in, do a little bit more research, figure out how to make the tachometer work, because I don't know how close I was getting the red line. I was just feeling the way the engine was revving out. So, but anyway, I'm gonna go ahead now and wrap up the episode. But I do have a lot of good goodies for this car, and stay tuned on the next episode. I'll unbox them, show you what we got, and it's gonna make a huge difference in the power. I'm gonna tell you that much. So trying to reach 1,000 subscribers, so please, if you're watching this for the first time, go ahead, subscribe. Got good content. Check my playlist. You can see what content I had in the past and what to look forward in the future. So hit the thumbs up button if you do like the video, and you know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I will see you guys on the next episode.